award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. We're glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we're glad to have some folks around the table this morning, this afternoon. Mr. Don King helping me co-host.
Thanks for dealing me in, Jason. Yep. Love the hat.
Hey,
Love
thanks.
the hat.
Thanks.
Where can I get one of those?
Yeah, GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.
Okay. All right. Good deal.
Chuck Yoest is with us as well. He's the CWD coordinator, and we're going to talk CWD today. But yeah, we're glad to have you, Chuck. You can get the hat. Everybody can get a hat. You need to get you one, Chuck. GoOutdoorsTennessee.com under specialty right now. And then, or under license catalog specialty, and then there you'll find the hat.
And you can go get the hat without buying a license, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's good.
Before you know it, we'll have a storefront that's going to have a few other items.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that.
So stay tuned for that.
Okay. Good deal. Yeah, I'm excited to have Chuck on board with us today too. That's catch up on what's kind of what we're looking forward to for next deer season. Plus, but hey, he kind of wanted to talk turkey, I think, to kick things off, didn't he?
Yeah, we had Roger a while back, and he talked turkey, but Chuck said he had a successful season. And if you're watching, you can see on the screen his boy Hatcher is hunting with him. How'd it go?
Yeah, well, it was great. I noticed y'all didn't introduce me as a special guest, though, so I guess I'm not that special.
Oh, yeah, the special agent in charge.
Yeah, that's special. We had a discussion a minute ago about my special agent in charge talents. But anyway, that's my title in case it wasn't clear, special agent in charge. And my son and I are decent turkey hunters, and yeah, we had a special time this past season, and there's some pictures of him back where I grew up in Watertown, Tennessee. We commonly made these cedar brush blinds to turkey hunt in, and Hatcher and I are sitting in one of those blinds. It's a little strange because you see a red seat there, and you think, well, that might be a problem for turkey hunting, but it's not, because we've got so much brush that's higher than we are.
You can see it. You can see it in front
of us. So anyway, had a great morning, and I harvested that turkey, and he was there through it all. And I'm just so impressed with his passion for the outdoors and for hunting, and just how well he sat through that, because it was a very long hunt for somebody his age to sit still that long. So really proud of him. Had a great hunting experience with him, and it's just,
that's awesome.
Last time I was here, we were talking about a successful deer hunt that we had together, and it really is one of the best parts of being a dad is those experiences. So appreciate you letting me share that.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
That's where it starts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what. And I'm sure you had your coffee, and he's got his sippy cup, so that's cool. Like Dad,
Yeah, we're both high maintenance in that way. Yeah, but as soon as we woke up that morning to go, he beats me up, and the first thing he said, well, where's my snack? What are we packing for snacks?
Right. Yeah.
And I concur. That's the most important part as well. So
get you through the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Well, I tell you what, we're going to jump into CWD and things going on with that. We're going to get an update on the new regulations coming our way and some other things. So we'll let you kick us off, Chuck. What's the new regulations looking like for this deer season?
Well, we've made some small changes to the Unit CWD regulations. Otherwise, the deer regulations are basically the same and just adjusted for the new calendar. But back to Unit CWD, we have expanded the unit to include Lauderdale, Crockett, and Gibson County now. So it's now made up of 11 counties. And a few other changes that occurred is we've got more of a gun season there, a longer gun season. There's no longer that traditional muzzleloader segment. It's just going to be you have the archery only season that folks are used to, but outside of that, it's gun, muzzleloader, and archery. So that's a pretty significant change. I think it'll be very beneficial. Hopefully, increase the harvest there.
Right.
Y'all know how important that is, and how concerned we are about the decline in harvest this past deer season. So anyway, trying to help with that, and hoping that hunters will embrace that and like that those new gun hunting opportunities. Other than that, it's mainly just a change to allow unlimited earning bucks, and one subtle change about replacement bucks. But really, I don't even think folks will notice that change. But replacement bucks are still there in case hunters harvest a harvest an antler deer and it turns out to be positive, they can replace that. In other words, have another antler deer in their bag limit. So that's still a thing. Still encouraging more harvest, encouraging earning those replacement bucks. And again, in order to earn those, you'd harvest antlerless deer two antler deer and Unit CWD. Submit those for testing through our service testing offering that we have, and then that would entitle you to earn another antler deer. And again, you can earn an unlimited amount of those now with these changes. So that's pretty much it as far as regulation changes. We're excited about that package. The first package we had for that area was very successful as far as the positive response we had from hunters. We didn't have the result that we hoped to with harvest. However, I think we were a bit optimistic, and there's really nothing that could be done about the initial concerns that hunters have that come along with the discovery of CWD. But now I think folks are settling in and getting to better understand those circumstances, how to be safe, how to have your deer tested, and getting more familiar with the new normal there. And so we're excited about the future and know that it'll help make a difference.
Cool. Awesome. We've got the map or the calendar on the screen if you're watching. Do you want to walk them through how those changes or what the seasons look like real quick? Yeah,
fairly straightforward. You've got the August hunt, the 3-day hunt.
Is that the velvet, what they call the velvet hunt?
Yeah, more commonly known as the velvet hunt. That's an antlered deer only hunt. Last year's season, you were restricted to muzzleloaders or archery. So this is new, that you can now use a gun in these counties, in the Unit CWD counties. You can use a gun during that 3-day season.
Only the CWD counties right now, right?
Right, Unit CWD only. And then, again, you have the traditional archery season, the traditional young sportsman hunts there at the end of October, and then again in January. And but right after that archery only season ends, instead of changing to a muzzleloader archery season, you go right into a gun season, which continues through this next time, January 3rd. And then you've got a private lands hunt there for 5 days. That's restricted to private lands, but it is either sex, which is a difference between Unit CWD and Unit L.
Okay.
But anyway, that's pretty much it, and I think hunters are really going to like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. So folks can find this information online, tnwildlife.org, or you can click cwdintennessee.com. But it's all right there on our website. We'll have the summary, the calendar, or the season summaries out there already, and anything related to CWD can be found at tnwildlife.org or cwdintennessee.com. That'll take you right to the section of the page. So do you want to show the map? You mentioned the map earlier of the counties. That's expanded a little bit, right, since last time we came together. You can find that in the middle of the CWD page, map in CWD in Tennessee. So that brings you right down to, as of May 2020, what's that look like, Chuck?
Yeah, so the recent change was the addition of Lauderdale, Crockett, and Gibson, and those are high-risk counties. But remember, McNairy County is also high risk, and just another reminder of what high risk means is that CWD, as far as we know, it doesn't exist in those counties, but it is within 10 miles. So our management scheme, if it's within 10 miles, then that kicks in a set of management practices that are necessary with the disease that close. Mm-hmm. So the Unit CWD makes up or is comprised of positive and high risk counties, in total 11 counties.
Okay. All right. And that's all in the southwest portion of the state. If you're listening to the radio, you can always go to the website and see that map and check those counties out. So
and a reminder, Jason, there's also a couple other regulations that apply to those areas. One is the wildlife feeding restrictions, and in essence, you can't feed deer in those areas to try to keep them concentrating on and better control CWD as a result. But there's also the carcass transportation restrictions that apply to those counties. So it's really important that hunters know whether their county is high risk or positive, and then know what that means for transportation of those deer parts out of those counties.
Okay. And all that information as well is on the CWD page.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And I hear there's a fair amount of this info coming out in the hunting guide as well, right, Chuck?
Yeah, it's all there. We've got a huge portion of our hunting guide dedicated to CWD again, and expect those to hit shelves and be online within a matter of weeks.
Yeah. So once you pick that up, just keep it around for reference and stay informed.
Yeah. You mentioned feeding restrictions for those counties. Are there things that folks can do that's maybe not in the CWD zone that would help maybe keep CWD from spreading? I know they're taking those efforts inside those counties, but as you move out and get closer to Middle Tennessee and out even further, are there things that hunters can do to try to help control the spread?
Yeah, there are. Outside of, well, it doesn't matter inside or outside. It's never a good idea to concentrate deer by feeding them or putting out minerals. There's been a lot of interest in those things, but they are a counter to trying to control a disease or prevent it from arriving into an area. So we recommend not doing those things. We also recommend that to harvest deer in such a way that you don't have high deer densities. So deer densities above, say, 20 deer per square mile, they're getting pretty dense. Mm-hmm. And much like if you pack too many kids in a school, there's more likely for infections to spread, and the same is true for deer. So the lower deer density, the less likely that a disease is to spread within that population. So keeping lower deer densities is also a good thing. I'd also encourage being very careful about how you move deer or deer parts. For example, more and more, I think it's appropriate, no matter where you are, to try to keep from leaving the land that you've harvested deer on, to just leave it there. Utilize what you want, but leave the rest there. For example, in my case, I harvest a deer. I debone the deer and take the meat out in a cooler and just leave the carcass there. Mm-hmm. And the absolute best thing you can do is not only leave it there, but to bury it. And that's the best case scenario.
Okay. All right. Good tips. So, do you think CWD is spreading, or how fast is it spreading, or is it slowing down? I mean, it seems like, right off the bat, we did a lot of testing, and the numbers were growing really fast that first year, but I think it's kind of slowed down a little bit, right? Or what's your thoughts on that? Well,
I wouldn't go as far as to say that the disease spread is slowing, because that would require a drop in the deer density in the affected area, and unfortunately, I don't think we've accomplished that. Because we saw the deer harvest decline. However, I also understand what you're asking. You're asking beyond that, and you're right that initially when we discovered it, we put a ton of effort into monitoring it and sampling as much as we could in that area to get a better understanding of how much disease was there and exactly where it is. And we know that now. We're confident that it's in the 7 counties that we know is positive. We know it's there, and we're pretty confident it's not in any of the other counties. Except for those high-risk counties, there's still a possibility that it exists there. But when we put a lot of that effort into testing, we started learning a lot of things very quickly, and then the situation changed for us, and we have this map now of 7 positive counties and 11 total for Unit CWD. And so, and getting all those new results and new positives, it seemed like things were drastically getting worse when they weren't. We were just better understanding where we were. Right. Now that we know where we are, we know that we've always known that CWD is a slow spreading disease. Uh-huh. It doesn't spread quickly. Even under normal circumstances, but there are some things that can cause it to spread quicker. Higher deer densities, moving deer, carcasses or live deer irresponsibly, that could accelerate the spread. And then another factor that's fairly specific is once you get to a certain prevalence of the disease in some counties, like we have in Hardeman and Fayette, it's 7 to 14%. depending on which county you're standing in. But it's high there, and it's high enough that the environment is now playing a role in disease spread, which causes spread to happen quicker. But the take-home message is that it's still slow-acting disease, regardless of our circumstances, which is good. But we do have a significant CWD issue in Tennessee, especially in Fayette and Hardeman counties. But you know, the agency is committed to this issue. We realize how big of an issue it is, and we're serious about addressing the issue. And we just appreciate everybody's patience and cooperation and support of that.
And again, you want to encourage hunters to come in, especially this season, and take harvest, keep that harvest numbers up, so we can keep more testing going. Plus, as you said, decrease the deer density in those areas as well, which would be helpful over time.
Yeah, I'm careful about not using absolutes because this is a very adaptive. We have to be very adaptive in how we address this disease. But that's one absolute that I will say, is that to effectively manage CWD at the scale that we have it in Tennessee absolutely requires the full cooperation of hunters. And we and that's outside of that, we can't manage it effectively. So you're spot on.
And I think that holds. I saw that at the public meetings we had initially. There was really good participation. A lot of hunters showed up and learned about it, and I'm sure a lot of that info that you guys put out during those public meetings has made its way, down to folks that couldn't necessarily get to the meetings, or they're still available online too. So
yeah, we're planning for more, but because of the circumstances around the concerns with COVID-19, we're having to be adaptive in our meetings as well. So very soon we'll be working with you guys to have some virtual meetings so that folks can know the latest in West Tennessee.
Okay.
And we will mention we are social distancing here.
That's right.
We're spread out enough here, and we're always doing that here on Wildcast. So
yeah, and I prefer keep my distance from y'all anyway, so it works well.
It's always a good idea from us.
Yeah, exactly. So we've kind of mentioned how hunters can help. Do you encourage other hunters from other parts of the state to go hunt the CWD zone and that kind of thing? And there's a lot of public land opportunities in that area, right? Yeah, there are, and some unique things is that, like that August hunt that folks call the velvet hunt is, it's open to public lands, select public lands, which is a nice offering, and then those additional gun hunting opportunities. But yeah, we encourage hunters to travel there. It's great habitat, high deer densities. It's just great deer hunting, and we could certainly use the help, and we provide the testing so that they don't have to be concerned whether deer is positive or not detected. We can handle help, or we can provide that service to them. So yeah, absolutely. And speaking of testing, are there more the testing still happening across the state as well? Are we still doing surveillance in the other counties?
Yeah, good point. I'm glad you brought that up. So we provide a lot of opportunities for testing in West Tennessee, but we're also providing some across the state. We're not recommending folks have their deer tested outside of West Tennessee. However, we are providing that service because we understand some people just feel best doing it.
Right.
But it's until you're in an area that's known to be positive, the CDC doesn't recommend that you can seriously consider testing. So our recommendation is aligned with theirs. We adopt theirs. So anyway, that's the case. But yes, if folks want to have their deer tested in other parts of the state, we can accommodate that. But we are actively doing testing across the state just to make sure that it's not popping up in new areas. We've got a fairly sophisticated system where we're taking a certain number of samples in each county across the entire state, that if CWD were to exist at a certain prevalence there, a very low prevalence, that we would detect it early. So, yeah, we're doing that as well.
Cool. Good deal. And I think Don had a question. We were talking earlier about Department of Ag helping out.
I'd heard, and I knew that the Department of Ag was coming on board, getting some testing facilities up and running so that it could be done pretty locally here instead of shipping them out. But how's that coming along, Chuck?
Yeah, well, so up until this year, all of our testing's been done out of state, primarily Colorado and then a little bit in Mississippi. But as of this coming deer season, the Department of Agriculture at their lab in Nashville will be providing this service. So a certain percentage of our testing that we do this year will be through that in-state lab, and we're excited about once that gets fully operational about us doing our testing in-state as opposed to out-of-state.
Okay, good.
I can see that be bringing quicker results.
Yeah, it's gonna help. It won't shave a ton of time because with overnight mail you could get them to Colorado quickly. So,
Gotcha.
But it will shave some. And any place that we can cut down on that turnaround time is so beneficial for hunters, and we want it to happen. So, we're excited about that piece as well.
Help get those replacement bucks online or known about quicker that way in case your deer was found to be positive. So
right, but the most urgent need is a hunter's harvested a deer, and before he consumes that deer, he's going to want to know those test results, and that's the number one sense of urgency.
Unfortunately, you've got to process it and get it, take care of it. Can't let it hang too long. But the quicker those results can come around, better off for the hunter, for sure.
Yeah, and processors too. It's a big issue for them, and unfortunately, a lot of that turnaround is outside of our control.
Yeah.
But where we can streamline it, we're going to.
Yeah. All right. There was a couple other things I had on my list, and let's just hit those two. The incinerator. We talked about an incinerator coming on board. I forget which county. You could fill us in on that, but what's that looking like?
Yes, so we've been working. Our commission was gracious enough to fund the purchase of an incinerator to be installed and operated at Fayette County landfill, and so those plans are in motion. With a purchase of this size and the state processes to do that, it's taken longer than we had hoped. However, we are, as we speak, finalizing the bidding process for the vendors to bid on doing that work for the state, and so what we're expecting is that process to be over around July 15th, and then it'll be a matter of that manufacturer building that unit and then installing it there in Fayette County. So that's where we are with that, and real excited about the commission doing that for sportsmen and for deer management, and just ready for that thing to be there to provide the solution that we all need.
Right.
We've got those smaller ones that we can tote around a little bit, but it's nothing like having this Mac Daddy of all incinerators available,
Yeah, well, the smaller ones, we're not moving those. They're stationary. They're just you can move them if you need to.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're utilizing those. But with the volume, the demand that's out there as far as disposal, they're a drop in the bucket. Whereas this large scale incinerator, some folks call them commercial, but I think of commercial different.
Yeah.
I just think it's a large scale incinerator, and it's going to go a long ways in helping with the issue, a lot more so than a portable incinerator ever could.
And you may or may not be able to answer this, but can a hunter drop one off once that's in place? Is that going to be somewhere where a hunter can take them, or is that mainly for processors or for us, or how's that going to work? Because is it going to be open to?
It's open to the public.
Cool.
It will be open to the public, and individual hunters could utilize that as well.
Great. Good deal. All right, the last thing I had, Don, you got something?
Oh, I just saw the report a sick deer on the website.
You read my mind.
Oh man, great minds. But there is a tab online that you can click on and read about the report a sick deer. Tell us a little bit about that, Chuck.
Yeah, as part of our efforts to try to detect CWD early if it were to occur somewhere else in the state, we had the surveillance testing that we talked about earlier for hunter harvested deer, but we also have a tool on our website now. People regularly report sick deer to the agency, and we really didn't have a clearinghouse for that, and we had an opportunity to improve how we manage those reports, and it also helps us with early detection. So we recommend that folks, anyone, staff or the general public, if they happen upon a sick deer, to go ahead and report it on our website. When they do that, they receive a notification that report has been collected by the agency. More than likely, it will not require a response by the agency, but it does give us some good information, and our biologists behind the scenes are reviewing those reports, and if their review reveals that that's a high priority sample and there's concerns about CWD, we're going to make it an effort to test those animals, and that'll go a long ways for us.
So if you don't hear from somebody, that's not necessarily that your information's gone unheard. It's just that the volume of people responding to that is probably pretty high. And
well, I'd say a little different than that. It's all of these reports will be reviewed.
Right.
People can have confidence in that. It's just a small percentage of these warrant a response, and therefore the ones with the largest concerns about disease will be responding to those in some way. But when we do that, the interactions will be minimal beyond the report.
Right. Gotcha.
Awesome. We've covered a lot here today, Don.
Yeah.
Chuck, I appreciate you being here. I'm
Glad
sure
to do it.
Folks are going to appreciate this information. It's a lot of changes, a lot of things, well, not a whole lot of changes, but just things changing over time. And it's a lot of information to digest. So they appreciate this info. I appreciate the info. Remember tnwildlife.org or CWD in Tennessee. All this stuff is there. The season summaries are there and all that good stuff.
Yeah, before we close, I'd like to say shout out to all the staff that's done such great work.
Oh, yeah.
Hunters deserve a lot of credit. All our stakeholders deserve credit, but our staff deserve credit for doing amazing work around CWD. We've had a monumental challenge, and they've risen to the occasion.
Yep, they sure have.
A lot of folks taking on responsibilities they didn't expect. It gets a lot busier for them.
I can relate.
Oh, man. All right, Chuck. Well, it's always fun to have you on, and appreciate you jumping in here.
Glad to do it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, Don.
You bet.
And this is Tennessee Wildcast. Keep tuning in, keep coming back, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee Wildcast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.